Hi guys, and welcome to another review in the Swing Review. And this is your review of WWE or on X of the last night's episode. And before we get into the actual crux of the review, I would just actually like to kick things off by saying it wasn't as good as last Monday night's in terms of the balance between in ring action and story each, but like overall, I thought that Spizzle or the um entry into WWE canon, and if you haven't checked out my SmackDown review, um, go check that out because I uploaded that last night on the channel. We spoke about the matches and events that happened on that show, and yeah, that was all the on because I was because I was celebrating my birthday the weekend, so hence why you got a special Monday edition of the SmackDown review. So without any further ado, let's get into the review. We start off with the new dangerous alliances, I would like to call them, or as Seth Rollins is calling the faction the division, because that seems to be the tagline and that's been bandied about. So out comes Seth Rollins on break and Paul Heyman. Seth Rollins says his usual catch phrase of the added bit of him being the winner of the WrestleMania main event. Add, um, I would like to add a caveat here. The the winner of the night one main event, so technically that was like kind of the half time main event if you really think about it. The true main event was Cena and Cody Rhodes on night because that's what was the weekend. But enough of that. So so Seth Rollins basically iterates that he and Braun Breaker along with Heyman are the future of the industry, and he says some of you still some of you have noticed still cheer for CM Punk because he because everyone's acknowledged the his standing ovation that he got despite being a heel, but as well then he mentioned Roman Reigns and he said with what needed to be done basically, and there's nobody that can stop the vision, and this is what the company needs. Out comes Sami Zayn, out comes Sami Zayn gets a bit of a wee crowd to the action as always. So Sami Zayn it's in the ring and he asks, and he big ends his part of the pro almost or by in you've been friends for a long time, Seth Wiggle. But but I, th- um, but think that this whole alliance with Brother on and also or the you basically um you, you basically you have the guy that's in a part I see Ian Pumpkins CM Punk in the Roman in his career and and uh, and you're basically turning into and you're basically turning into Roman Reigns 2.0 and for all ones and the bonds are not often like or Roman or the says if you future of the industry you're either if is or against is um but I don't want us to come to blows so here's the offer I'm on figure of you or a thing if a pause that you uh, that you request a, a trade a smacking down because as if you want you will be in the past and left for the basic kill will give you the night and we'll give you the rest of the show sorry to think about it so that ends so, so that ends that segment. So the first match of the night is obviously Europe Pull and Roxanne Perez. But before we get into that, I cool and Pat McAfee, I address the whole unf or from last 2 weeks show at the middle point of last 2 weeks show obviously is with the again and that it's not all condoned and and for suspended until further notice. But I'll touch back on that way. So before the opening, um, before the opening and contest can begin, guys, we basically get basically we get a recap package, a Stephanie, a Stephanie Vac sees EO Sky from last week here Oxan Arez and Julie and a field area that Paul he jumped in to make the save and that's the reason for the match or yeah that Paul he comes out us to get it the action as always is she um she always comes out to get it over Asian and actually the theme music as I've said before for our year is exceptional for so for the rest of the audience in the UK we got to see his entrance in full and we see Rhea having a Bill asked Sami so into the ring. So so then Oxan Perez comes out and makes her entrance and then the match begins and I have to actually he says well I know I've been critical of Roxanne Perez like since I've started or reviewing the product or still on this um channel. But to me, I think this is the best match that she's had basically. She didn't actually. She didn't look as sloppy as what she as what she was in the ring. Now, obviously, the offense was a bit more basic as she starts off by using the chop block maneuver to take out or ripple his um to take out ripple his egg because obviously Rhea ripple um kind of hours over Ox and sort of Ox basically he attacks the way getting for pretty much the majority of the match she wraps he's the around the post on ice it's a ripple in various submission predicaments um and uses egg egg interest to like or then build up help is to the course of the match. She hits a couple of suicide dives and basically like your yeah basically only he had about maybe 40% of the offense. So this was a case letting her Oxa and see what she's got in the main roster for the higher ups basically. And overall, I thought Roxanne did a pretty competent job. Or a change. Obviously as well, Europe probably he had a couple of attempts at using the razor's edge in homage to Damien Priest, who's our best friend behind the scenes. Obviously the first obviously the first time Erasmus manages to manage to reverse and block but um, the second attempt was successful and she launched her ox sound basically like a recipe, hey, and I thought all it was I entertaining, and then it looked, but it, oh, to be honest, so basically, is our, so basically, laser there starts to begin the process of finishing off, um, um, of finishing off our oxa, and outcomes, um, out, um, outcomes Julia to assist our oxa and chop oxygen either and the obviously Oxan put his focused on and gives Maria probably the skill qualification victory in Anish. Now, I'm not a big fan of this skill qualification fun. She's, as I've said many times in my reviews, but for this, I can kinda see why they did it. Now, I'm not really a big advocate for all that kind of finish, but I think they're building a big tag match, at back, get one, maybe with, Io Sky and, Io Sky and the Europe probably versus Joe here and the Roxanne, and that is because Io Sky comes out and and she makes a save, obviously as well there's a bit of mutual respect starting to build awesome between Sky and the Ripple. Eh, I have to actually say it was a pretty decent match. Earlier that bowling as a total hurdle over or or trying to help get Roxanne as over as possible and or Roxanne didn't look as sloppy here. I still think she's got a bit of work to do to try and win me over. But yeah, I didn't actually think it was a stupid performance. R- um, or I just actually think she's one of these wrestlers that doesn't kind of from in the back, obviously, you see the Judgment Day, but JD on this, on from last week, you see, you see Carl Louis on JD on a pole, either way, is if franchise in the background, you see of Morgan with some sort of years of the town basically, and then Finn Balor, and then Finn Balor makes his way into the up house in the back, and he says, um, and he says to JD, he can have a and he's like, yeah, so the two of them are having a chat, and said it would have been, would have been nice if you had to let me know you were coming back into the fold, and nobody tells me anything, and it's really starting to annoy me. It's JD McDonough then responds, ch- chill out. They've got a tag title number on content, awesome match against against the Warriors, and again, um and and again, um and and again, and said nobody tells me anything of Morgan comes over and she goes, hey, hey JD, have you told Anne about the tag title match? And then and so like, yeah, that's why wasn't I involved? And of basic, he says to um 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 and it's like all that is then over. Static search right now. Kill. Year later, I kind of building for action and making fun of the outcast. Here and Skippy is the only original member of the incarnation before basically. And yeah, and I think the rest are trying to ostracize him from the puppet, but then I've says to um and he organised the match because the rest of his campaigns me in other women's tag championship get who's the IC champ, and um and then yeah, he just won on the tag, but uh, but brought back to the kill up house and it's you and JD that are in for the match, and then and Carly Oja joins the huddle saying everybody is a champion. I want to be a champion. And yeah, so yeah, so you're so you at some point your new WWE champion Carly. Oh, probably the only belt that Carly who's ever going to win these days. I'm not sure how much prestige and that belt has. It's kind of redundant almost, but the very aches. I'm just happy that Curly was still around because I've always liked Um, so, so during the break, because of the, so where's the, it previous times that you okay Netflix subscriber I both get some extra segments and like Jackie Redmond as an interviewing Austin Erie and Grayson all are a town down on or she so she asks the two about about the upcoming tag team on board on content of match it's up next um and it's up next in the show in a few moments. Basically, Grayson or basically Austin Theory praises the Kansas City um Chiefs big is they're in Kansas City and any response it doesn't matter or who's got the tag championships here coming for or whoever holds and then you've got and then you've got Grayson all of the new commemorative Super Bowl Philadelphia Eagles say championship Super Bowl winners championship. He says, "Oh, Eagles, and by the way, we've got a big match coming up. It'll be me against a stereo owning an Austin Aries like. So you've got a singles match with a stereo owning. You never owned him. So again, there's another bit of action between two teams. It's unlike this has been going on for the past few months now. At this rate, it'll be 26 by the time Austin Theory turns ace and will get the Grayson Wall or an Austin Theory feud to it shall probably go no here because the two of them are just an afterthought now. And I like Grayson Wall or as a personality, but even he's not really done much apart from hold to the SmackDown Tag Championships for a brief cup of coffee, basically. At least Austin Theory has actually held the United States Championship a couple of times and held the tag old, even although I think Grayson all are the more charismatic of the two. It's Austin Theory with the more decorated career because Grayson will never got NXT cha- any NXT championship bronze or anything. Um, but yeah, a kind of a work to do segment, but it's always nice see Jackie Redmond um on my screen, and I know Sean who appears on the channel. I know he's a big I know he's a big fan of Jackie Redmond. So yeah, that was nice, I suppose. And the um um and the I can't so we see Paul Heyman we see Otis and Otis and Sami Zayn have a conversation. Paul Heyman and X and asks Otis to give them a moment while they discuss business. And obviously Heyman reiterates it all, and Sammy is like, and Sammy's like, I know the bill on the line is a long time ago, but are you ever going to be able to forgive yourself about what you did to Roman Reigns? And Heyman basically unzip back on Sami Zayn, but Heyman in the end says to Sami that Heyman and says to Sami that obviously Um, obviously, he's not here to talk about but what do and he's here to reiterate the offer. And he said, if you accept to the trade offer, a SmackDown, it comes with the number one contender shipped to the WWE title you'll face the and are of John Cena and Randy Orton. Um, because obviously that's the main event, but at Ash. So yeah, and Heyman said if you decline the offer, um, if you decline the offer, better on Breakers chomping at the bit having a match with if you destroy you. The reason why there's a caveat to the offer is that if as it's for Owens hold you in high regard because if you're a steady and keep out it and choose one eyes on he Heyman then departs the walk or you see but on the Lakers stand and on guard basically Heyman get as a partner but can an evil smile to but to but on but he or and I have to actually say to battle on Breaker. I do enjoy your performances, but for God's sake, can you off bill or the bill or the Annans off in the fake and you should look absolutely ridiculous. But like yeah, And it's a bit of a nitpick here because I do actually really enjoy Burrow on Breaker. I think he's a cool character and presence on the show. It's just he kind of looked like a bit of a side show comedy act here with that look, and it was supposed to be a very ominous segment, um, and it kind of wore up if Heyman sort of blackmailing Sami Zayn, but then you see the image of Burr on Breaker, and you think, hold on a minute, that's kind of and that's kind of and the, right it far on the segment basically. And so the next match is obviously the Bloodborne on contendership for the tag um um for the tag titles. Obviously you get a new coming out during the ad to her leaks again. I got to see this because of the part of the Earl Diamond. Outcomes outcomes of judgment out for us to that horrible Evie Stone Forever generic app. In order miss the other side by all her edge because it's Evie Stone Forever seems a lot of pish, to be honest. It's odd awful. I know sure I know sure On's not a big fan of it either, but Jesus Christ, it's a bad theme song. Anyway, outcome number already also we get a pretty basic get a pretty basic match here obviously your standard tag match, but that's not really but that's not really important. Obviously, a pen uh, comes out and costs JD McDonough are a very back and forth Formula 8 tag matches. JD McDonough goes to the top, but up and Penta and knocks him off and the alright, us go for the arm machine finish and gets the and I don't think this match will be on Bad Killer Ash. I think it'll be next to eat for the tag title rematch between the already us and the new and obviously and obviously a very predictable I know obviously we are very predictable finish here because you know it probably won't be a heel versus heel tag team match combination for a tag match to actually be enjoyable. You need to see a face tag team get the shit kicked out of them in order for on it to work for the faces to come back and make it a competitive match. So that was a correct decision and also pen um I know I know so pen um and also pen. I get it's usually Avenger on JD aiming on a um um on the attack killer as to equip as a carbon copy of the attack. So yeah, pretty basic, but it serves up um it serves up a tag match that I don't really hear about now because I've seen it far too many times over the years, and yeah, just try something different with the tag. But else, obviously, as well, I think the new routine next to eat. So yeah, um, so yeah, I don't really care too much about that, guys. The next, so the next ad to break, so the next ad break says, oh, it, like, oh, it, like, eyes are looking like a soul. I've sort of cool James Bond, the one again, if the shades and the cool shirt up and the and are Catholic L E um Catholic L E asks him, are you any further for or are you any further for or to if you can opportunities on this on this brand and Kaiser basically says all of WWE higher ups have their favourites um if um if you're European and some the best don't our current company and it's outrageous I haven't been given more opportunities to um, to shine. Only have to start. Only have to start taking opportunities, and it's a bit ridiculous that he can't get any substantial or opportunities. I'm finding myself in I'm finding myself in a good agreement every time David Kaiser has some of these per, has some of these promo segments because the guy has got a lot to offer. I'm not sure what you guys think. Will let me know about that in the comments. Just think Kaiser has stuff off off or do you think or do you think um or do you think I I'm overrating them. But okay, so we come back. Okay, so we can. I'm back for okay, so we can. I'm back from the alright. And obviously, it's time for the it's time to hear from the biggest shits in pill, on the pill, and oh, oh, he basically he comes out and he talks up about his victory over AJ Styles at WrestleMania. But he